My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence, that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C, and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state, and it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state. This is P.O.C. This is UPS that is stalking at 855 North Euclid Avenue, and I have this entity engaging in the same stalking as an entity, a bunch of demons under the fake sun on the roads and the highways, gang stalking in the establishments where UPS is not making any delivery, not headed to a destination. UPS is a stalker. They engaged in murder. They committed murder in Kentucky. A fake sun, by the way. where they're engaged in surveillance with the scenario, these psychopaths, these vagina monitors that use dumpster trucks in order to engage in the inhumane and sexually perverted and criminal pattern of conduct of monitoring. They're gang stalking trash demons, because they're not men and women, those are creatures. That's what's so psychotic. And that's the prosecution of Pollyon. The entity is engaging in this at what is, I'm here, Amazon is gang stalking in the evening. How? By a demon carrying a package with a logo. I'm gonna prosecute that logo. It's a legal fiction, and these logos, these companies, these corporate entities are engaging in the pattern of conduct, and it is shown under the fake sun. This is I Street in Euclid, and my documentation, the video that I will attach, I will remind you about while I'm standing right here, and I'm being attacked again by the people of the state while the entity is stalking me by helicopter and commercial planes. That's the P.O.C. This is Amtrak that is stalking. You already know that Amtrak is a domestic terrorist. Union Station in Los Angeles, the entity is gang stalking me with LAPD at that train station, the Amtrak train station under the fake sun. This is documented in July of 2020, same time of year analysis. There's no sun that's going to be over me here and remaining over me at Union Station at Alameda and Cesar Chavez, where the entity is stalking me by planes and helicopters as well. This is the P.O.C. at what is 6:59 a.m. All right, at 7:19 a.m., there will be no sun in a natural environment at Stater Brothers at 646 West Holt, where the Ontario Police, an act of terrorism on video, which is prosecuting that entire department, and all of its co-defendants like AMR, license plate 61664 David 2, stalking, surveillance, sex offenders, demons. And this is the end of their secret engagement of stalking and monitoring anybody. Now everyone knows that they're psychopaths, and now everyone knows that they're monitoring. Everyone knows that they're sex offenders. Everyone knows that they are a threat to the public and they're a threat to national security. And they are being prosecuted. This is the P.O.C. It is currently 7 a.m. Rodriguez, who's on video at the Stater Brothers at 7:19 in the morning, he's going to federal prison. So is Hidel Chiappini, so is Edgar of Stater Brothers, and so are the demons that are engaging in what is gang stalking by virtue of employment at that venue. This is an entity that is, they engage in more of that criminal conduct while they're humiliated as I prosecute them and document them. This has nothing to do with what are the legitimate operations of an airport, and this is the identification of terrorists, the people of the state who are monitoring. And you're going to prison. You're going to be deported. You're losing custody to kids. You're going to be put in prison while they engage in this conduct. You will not be stalking with the government anymore. That is over. And this is the entity that's being committed. They just engaged in a U-turn, ladies and gentlemen. That's what you saw. These are demons. This is lawlessness. This is the P.O.C. This is stalking. And if you're not even a natural-born citizen, you're getting shipped out of here. This is, you're witnessing what is your notice about the papers you're going to be served when you're shipped out of this country, because that's exactly what's happening. It is currently 7:01 a.m. Alrighty, this is the entity engaging in the same pattern of every intersection, stalking by planes. Here you go, right here. You'll see the pictures I took. They're stalking throughout the intersection. This is Euclid Avenue at 5th Street, okay? And this is also the location at this intersection where the military who are showing themselves to be worthy, they're going to be committed. And this is also how you're going to prosecute gang stalking in the first place, which is a mentally ill, psychopathic, sexually perverted, and satanic pattern of conduct that is practiced not just by that particular demon that you're going to have constrained in padded rooms while they're stalking on the roads and the highways, but it's by an entity. It's the whole population. 04725 Henry 3 is stalking at the intersection where he is also stalking me in the evening while the entity is stalking me by helicopter right here at 5th Street in Euclid, where the fake sun is over me as well. This is a population that's equally mentally ill. These are all demons that lost together. There's no secrecy. There is no elite behavior behind being a stalker, an obsessed, psychotic, losing stalker. Okay, you're jealous of the color of my socks. You're jealous by the way my gloves look on my hands. You're jealous by the way I walk and talk. You're jealous because I wash my hands after I use the restroom. You're jealous because I can spell restroom. You're jealous because I know how to read proficiently and I know what proficient means. You're stalking and your children are stalking. This is the entity that's not going to be funded. Chafee High School is a stalker. And this is why these demons don't know how to read. This is the pattern of conduct. The entity is spending millions of dollars on criminal monitoring, not on the education and literacy of the creatures that they give birth to, who are gang stalking me. Understand what the purpose is, and they've lost in that endeavor. They can't even do it competently. This is the entity that is showing you how lawless they are, and they're showing you how out of control that they are, and they've been murdering for years, for centuries. All right, and that murder spree is over. This is the entity that's desperate. This isn't traffic. They decide to continuously gang stalk, and this is obsession. 9RXC386. DZR2RVR 9NOP260, and this is going to be assessed with regard to they have children, they're immigrants, They're in the medical field, the legal field, law enforcement, whatever, all manner of what is prosecuting them with regard to neutralizing the threat of a mentally ill population. That is stalking, using planes and helicopters. The entity that's engaged in that, using jets. This is the military doing the same thing while they're stalking. I just read their license. This is indeed the entity that is obsessively stalking, okay? Engaging in a pattern of conduct that they're committing as one. Impossible Light, moving across the high school, they're all demons, they're all stalkers, they're all psychotic. This is what money is going toward. This entire business, which is the state of California's pattern of conduct, is being defunded. It's being defunded, okay? Gavin Newsom is nothing other than a manager, a facilitator of surveillance, a fundraiser, okay? He raises funds for this. All right, this is the P.O.C. It is currently 7, let me give you the time, at 5th Street in Euclid. My documentation shows the fake sun in the evening. It's 7:15 in the morning. A. Rodriguez and Hadel Shiapani Edgar, Stater Brothers at 646 West Holt, which this is not over the building of Stater Brothers, which is on Holt Boulevard. This is where, such as Pollyann is funding terrorism, and that's going to be dealt with. This is an entity that's engaged in what is a sex offense, obsessing over me while you're touching with Impossible Light. Alrighty, this is P.O.C. This is where the entity is targeting me. And the entity is targeting not just by the demon, the psycho, the terrorist, the cult member that is stalking in the helicopter. They are stalking while they are living in the environment where the specific environment is present. You're being prosecuted under the law. So while I am here and I'm being attacked by the people of the state, and where were they in that video that you're looking at next to this? The evidence of demon possession, the evidence that terrorists are hiding under corporate entities like Amazon Prime, who's on this street in the evening while the entity's flying over my head, that chaos, that psychologically torturous environment where they are stalking. They are an entity. The stalker is not one person. The stalker is a population, and the stalkers are all creatures that are under a fake sun. And this is your notice about the fact that you are being federally prosecuted. Robert Normandy, EA and Associates, is documented on my website. You can see his image, you can see the address, you can see the location, because it's prosecuting everybody that's subject to a raid for federal prison. And you're looking at what is gang stalking, where you live, where you have no constitutional protection, where you work, where you maintain an establishment where you have no constitutional protection, where you are engaging in that conduct where the entity is targeting any American citizen levying war, which you share in, while the fake sun is over your house in the morning and in the evening. You're going to federal prison. You're being prosecuted on essentially a strict liability basis, because that's how surrounded with the evidence you are. This is the P.O.C. And by the way, this is the implosion of gang stalking, because now you're seeing how all your gang stalking co-defendants don't care that you're going to prison for what they're doing, for that which you are responsible for. This is why you don't go robbing banks with psychotic people that are going on a killing spree, because you're going to prison and all you wanted was the money, but you never should have been engaging in that inherently dangerous crime in the first place. Go get a job. Get a job. This is the P.O.C. This is the fake sun over the same address where the entity stalked me by helicopter. Remember, as I'm documenting, the entity did that 3 times by helicopter, and then engaged in stalking me while I'm in Ontario, which I've been documenting as I'm coming up the street. UPS, which is a murderer, the corporate entity, the terrorist that's committing murder in states like Kentucky. You can see these clowns. It's a circus where they're committing murder. They're not accidents. They're not plane failures. They're acts of terrorism. These are demons who are suicidal. They're dead already. And they want other people to feel that misery, that fear that they live with. And they're gang stalking the wrong person. I'm here to report them, prosecute them. I'm here to exhaust all the funds that they've stolen and expose them. They were never going to be successful against me. You need to understand what you're looking at, and you need to understand the rights that you have. And I'm enforcing them on behalf of everyone. This is the P.O.C. Everybody in this neighborhood, based on my evidence, they're all subject to federal prison. This is the P.O.C. It is currently 7:32 a.m. Alrighty, this is Mariposa. I documented them. You'll see my pictures. Them documented there in Brightview. Very heavily documented gang stalking in San Bernardino County and LA County. They're contracted with the municipalities while they're engaging in gang stalking, and they're inclined to hire immigrants that are engaging in terrorism. You're going to pay attention to what they're actually focused on, which is their communication devices. Whether they're engaging in the pattern of conduct, stalking in the path, holding a conversation, it's stalking in the path under the fake sun. The fake for the same venue, when I'm walking out in the evening and the Upland police who just drove by, that's going to have immigrants shipped out of the country, that's going to have me exhausting all the funds from gang stalking companies who are persons under the law. These legal fictions are going to be federally prosecuted. You are given notice right now through the social media because the entity is engaging what is a matter of comprehensive public corruption. The entity that's being documented, Brightview, a corporate entity, is being federally prosecuted, and this is your notice online. I am prosecuting you for engaging in the pattern of conduct in furtherance of murder, and your gang stalking employees use of what are the tools and resources of your businesses while you are profiting from gang stalking and furtherance of murdering me. 8 Robert Bob Nancy 533, including with the Upland Police Department. Brightview is also doing this with the Ontario Police Department. They're also doing it with the Los Angeles County Sheriff. The entities engaging in this pattern of conduct with the state of California. Mariposa is gang stalking. Mariposa is gang stalking in Fontana. I documented them before as well. License 592268. You're losing licensure while you're engaging in the pattern of conduct, and you don't have to say anything, but it is relevant that they can't even speak the English language while they're in the United States of America, engaging in terrorism with the government and furtherance of murder and kidnapping. That is an unprecedented basis to remove the entity altogether. Mariposa is not going to survive as civil and criminal prosecution. Mariposa is a terrorist, it's a sex offender, and it's engaging in that pattern of conduct of federal stalking with the Upland Police who cross paths, and so that's why I took this opportunity to go ahead and capture video. This is the entity that's engaged in this, and you'll see the body of evidence while I'm inside of this venue, while I'm sitting inside of the corner where the entity is stalking me by helicopter. Mariposa is engaging in terrorism. Brightview is engaged in terrorism while the fake sun is still here at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And let me move the fake sun to be over that corner because Brightview, in concert with the people of the state, 9 FEK 285, 9 YEC 399, 9 CET 574, 9 NLM 329. Stalking from Ontario to Upland. And the fake sun is over this same building. Well, it's over the top of my head inside of this same venue, the same address, the same building that doesn't move anywhere. And neither does the fake sun. And that's a prosecution of the corporate entity. It's mentally ill behavior to stalk with light. And you're seeing that mentally ill pattern of conduct while demons operate vehicles, while demons are in the environment, which is the fake sun. They're all mentally ill, engaged in monitoring. These are demons. The demons are being prosecuted. This is P.O.C. It is currently 7:53 a.m. 9BKP120 is a sex offender. And he has a fetish. It's more than a fetish, it's a mental illness. He's a psychopathic sex offender that's monitoring my vagina on the inside of this building where the fake sun is remaining until after 7 p.m. This is the P.O.C. and it's facilitated by corporate entities such as Mariposa and Brightview, who are engaging in what is obsession. This is relevant for mental illness. They're not conversing about it, they're stalking in the path. All right, and they're refusing. This is actually refusal to remove from engaging in stalking. Somebody that's documenting you, stop stalking me. Why are you stalking me? Because you continue talking does not mean you're looking at the entity, how the entity engages in that, and they're going to be diagnosed with that. Very malicious, very psychotic, very obsessive behavior that they thought was going to deflect and appear, cause the target individual's character to appear in one way or another. That's delusional. This is the P.O.C. It is currently, by the way, while the school districts are gang stalking, it is currently 7:54 a.m. Mariposa is engaged in an unlawful threat. Just like the demons are inside of the library, they're surrounding. While the fake sun remains over me, they're outside surrounding, stalking, obsessing. Just like you see what they're doing with commercial planes and helicopters. Those are not humans, those are creatures. All right, the creatures are being prosecuted, they're being bound up, and they're being put in facilities where they can no longer cause this threat, which is a violation of your human rights, let alone what is the right to be free in this United States. And you maintain that right, even though the government is currently infected with a bunch of demons that are being exposed and they're being ousted, they're being removed. This is the P.O.C. It is currently in Upland, California, where Bill Velto is being prosecuted. Okay, while the entities engaging in what is terrorizing me and gang stalking me, Bill Velto is being prosecuted. Every iteration, every stalker in the bathroom, every psychopathic pacing demon in the library, every act of criminal summoning, every gang stalking demon with a dumpster truck that can't mind their business, just empty the trash. This is the prosecution of Bill Velto, in the same way that's the prosecution of Paul Leon in Ontario. This is the P.O.C. It is currently 7:55 a.m. under a fake sun that is still here when I walk outside of these doors in the evening, and you're looking at it right here while I capture this image, where a bunch of demons think if they talk and don't look at you and don't address you, that's going to help them in court, because they're going to be literally screaming, kicking, and crying when they are being put in mental facilities, because that's where you're going. This is psychotic. This is where you're going. That's the P.O.C. P.O.C. I want you to see the same conduct that is underway in Ontario. This is the prosecution of Bill Velto. That's what you're focusing on here, because you already know that the entity, the state of California, is being prosecuted. You already know that they're demons. You already know that they're stalking. And you also know, as I've shown this, that they're engaged in surveillance on the internet. You're paying attention here. The entity stalking by helicopter under the fake sun, which is over me. Okay? Right here. Here's the fake sun. And the current time is, by the way, 8:17 a.m., where the entity is monitoring my internet activity, which is uploading evidence. That includes Upland, California. Upland, California shall be subject to martial law. Upland, California does not have any Upland City Council or a mayor. Bill Velto is being federally prosecuted for this very video evidence. And Bill Velto, as you're looking at the evidence of the P.O.C, this is the criminal activity that he engaged in 2022 when he committed kidnapping as an entity, doing so maliciously as a domestic terrorist and posing as a mayor, which is how they're engaging in surveillance in the United States, in the state of California, where they're maintaining this surveillance system amongst a city hall while surveillance is underway, amongst a city library, amongst the pattern of conduct. And the entity is engaging in what is harassing and targeting, psychologically torturing, and very foolishly doing so on video while they're engaged in this pattern of conduct. And it is based on what is federal stalking, surveilling me and keeping my device under surveillance while I publish the evidence regarding today, July 23rd, 2026. The entity is keeping the fake sun over me. If you'll recall, the entity is keeping the fake sun at 8:18 is the time right now. Officer Landivar, he's not a police officer. He's a terrorist. And he is engaged in stalking via criminal summoning right here at the Upland City Hall Civic Center. He's going to prison. And this is the evidence that is also coupled with all of the body of evidence prosecuting Landivar, showing that he's a demon, he's wearing a gun and a badge, and he is stalking while engaging in surveillance through that malicious iteration of the P.O.C. of targeting me. And it is coupled with the entity's pattern of stalking, the hallmark of stalking by helicopter. What you're going to recall also is the entity that is stalking in this environment under the fake sun. So let me remind you about the environment where the entity just exposed Marcelo Blanco, who is subject to a federal prosecution, which he is unsuccessful in. This is his prosecution, and he's going to prison. Just like his predecessor, Darren Goodman. Darren Goodman committed kidnapping, and he's going to federal prison for it. He's currently gang stalking as the leader over San Bernardino police, who are gang stalking, and I have San Bernardino police gang stalking me as of 2026, and I have them gang stalking me on the roads and the highways by helicopter under the fake sun in San Bernardino, California, as I am driving my vehicle, and the entity is keeping a fake sun over my car, and Darren Goodman is gang stalking while I'm in San Bernardino, California in 2024. After I left Los Angeles, and the Los Angeles Police Department are gang stalking me day and night by helicopter under a fake sun that would never be in Upland, California, never be over me in Upland, California, when it's rising and setting over me in my apartment at Alvarado Gardens in Los Angeles, where I documented Bill Velto in the city of Upland and the Upland Police Department, the Upland Public Library. This is the entity that's doing so because I am publishing evidence. So now I'm publishing evidence, and I'm also publishing video documentation of the entity's pattern of engaging in what is psychological torture, harassment, ongoing threatening conduct, just like what's happening when I'm inside of this library. And this fake sun is over me, and the same homosexuals of this cult, the U.S. military, of the Upland Police Department, are stalking me by flying over me while this fake sun is over me in this building. And that is also video that I will attach for you. And guess what's happening as a result? Everybody that works at the Upland Public Library is going to prison. Brianna, Joy, Adam Tuckerman, Alan, Kiki, they're all going to federal prison. All of them are going to federal prison. This is what they're doing on the inside, and all you're doing under the fakes, and they're a bunch of psychopaths that are pacing on the inside of the library, just walking all around, going up and down the stairs, coming in and out of the entrance, monitoring me, just like they are on the roads and the highways, stalking. All right, number one, this is the entity that is stalking by helicopter. These are desperate acts of the mentally ill that are going to be committed and are resulting in nothing other than a whole gang, a population of stalkers serving the penalties that they deserve for engaging in terrorism in the first place. So the entity is stalking, flying in circles over the Upland Civic Center, and that's not helpful to anyone. This is the entity that is indeed mentally ill. But nonetheless, while you can hear helicopter in the background, you'll recall what happened yesterday. The entity, Southwest Airlines, that is the same U.S. military, and that's the prosecution of you, Southwest Airlines, who are hereby being served notice that I am prosecuting you for gang stalking. That is conspiring my murder with the U.S. government. That is stalking me from city to city, including county to county via Southwest Airlines planes in a specific environment in concert with the people of the state who are not ignorantly in this environment. At 8:14 a.m., the entity is keeping a fake sun yesterday, and this is where it remained in Ontario while I'm documenting a terrorist entity that's engaging what is targeting me. This is where the fake sun is remaining. It's currently 8:23 a.m. in 5 minutes. The fake sun is going to remain right here where it's at, over me. It's not going to be over the Ovid Family Community Library, and this is not happening at the same time. It's not in Ontario. That would require more than one sun. You are looking at a bunch of stalkers, and I am prosecuting the airline industry. I'm prosecuting the military. I'm prosecuting the gang stalking mayors. Where the fake sun's over me, you are not engaged in the business of the people. You are not an actual leader with regard to the government. You are a disguised and hereby exposed domestic terrorist. You're a gang stalker. You're a vagina monitor. You're a psychopath. You're a demon. And those labels are legally relevant You are an enemy of these United States, and I'm prosecuting you while you have conspired my murder, while you are targeting me in planes and helicopters, which is exactly what I'm documenting in Upland, California. The entity's keeping this fake sun, as you can see yesterday, in Ontario, where the military are stalking me in concert with the city of Upland. A bunch of demons who are pacing all around under a fake sun. They're psychotic. This is the entity that's engaging in this and I'm going to just remind you about what it is that I'm capturing hours from now, where the incompetent, the inferior, the demon possessed that are masquerading as humans. They're not humans, and they're also not authorities in the government. The U.S. military are cult members, and they're engaging in the criminal pattern of conduct. And that's why at a Veterans Monument, by the way, they're engaging in terrorism. Imagine the symbolism behind that irony. The entities engaging in this, and this is the actual terrorists, are those that are in a position who take an oath to protect an American citizen like myself. And the U.S. military, the people of the state, the local government are levying war against me, and there is a severe and high price to pay for that. And I'm doing it while I'm prosecuting. And you're looking at the supernatural. These are demons that are engaging in this comprehensive system of surveillance, which is demonic. And inside of the same library at 3:47 p.m., the sun would not be like what you're witnessing now during the 8 a.m. hour, where demons like Landivar are gang stalking me, Landivar of Upland Police, and the sun is still here over me while I'm inside of this same Upland Public Library at 3:47. But this is what I documented July 21st, 2026. That was just the other day. And you're also dissecting not only the presence of a fake sun, where it's remaining over one building hours from now, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 7 hours from now, the sun is not stationary over the same building, over one location, paying particular attention, special attention to one location in all of the universe. Moreover, while the fake sun is above the building and you see a staircase, you have the staircase that is flat on the ground. This is impossible light, and this is speaking to everything that this engineer light is touching with regard to monitoring. Stalking with light is mentally ill behavior, and that's what an entity is doing, while all they're doing is letting you know they are pacing in this engineered environment under a fake sun, where they are engaging in stalking in the ways in which I've shown you. The hallmark includes stalking via those who are supposed to appear as and exercise the authority of what are the police. They are a corrupted executive branch, and this is not law enforcement, and I will prosecute for what is domestic terrorism. The entities engaging in this by the hallmark of stalking by helicopters. They are engaging in domestic terrorism and ongoing surveillance, including federal stalking on the venue of the internet via my devices, while I am uploading evidence to protect myself and to prosecute a government that maintains no warrant or probable cause or legitimate interest in keeping one under surveillance in the United States 24 hours a day, and in concert with the people of the state who are inside of the library stalking, as are the employees in the bathroom as well, as are the employees that are gang stalking. This is Alan and Sheena, who are both going to prison. They're engaging in this pattern of conduct with the military that just flew over me right now. They're engaging in stalking while they receive a paycheck from the city of Upland to engage in surveillance via employment in the city of Upland. I want to be clear. The state of California, the United States, is essentially a corrupt company, and the people of the state are all employees, and they're all being fired. They're all being exposed for the corrupt company that it is. A company that's violating your rights while this company is in operation, and not telling you all the ways in which they're violating your privacy and violating your human rights. This is the fake sun that is over me inside of the library, this same library, at 3:49 in the afternoon. And that is what is behind this entity that's keeping a fake sun over me right now while I'm publishing evidence on the venue of the internet. Evidence that the demon possessed, the entity, the defendant himself, the defendant themselves are hostile to. And it does not provide any right to for you to engage in targeting. And this is psychological torture, which is an unprecedented basis of recovery. And the corporate entities, I've documented you, and you have been hereby given notice. As you are looking at your names appear on what is my social media, as you are looking at what is a template for prosecuting you, even if you have not been assigned an entire playlist, I am prosecuting, and every business is exposed to a federal prosecution for gang stalking, which is federal group stalking and monitoring under what is a fake sun. The environment with the government, which serves to prosecute you. This is the P.O.C. It is currently 8:29 a.m. at the Upland Public Library, the Upland City Hall, that are engaged in criminal monitoring. Not any business of the people, and they maintain, the people of the state are not private citizens. You maintain no rights to be present, because understand what the government has done. Because the surveillance system is underway, you don't have any protected right to be at your so-called job. You're monitoring. To be at your place of residence, you're monitoring. To be on the roads and the highways, you're monitoring. And you will be prosecuted in all the ways in which the entity thought that it was a genius idea to gang stalk someone, everywhere at all times. Now you're going to pay the penalties for that. This is the P.O.C. It is currently 8:30 a.m. All right, Chevron, which is located at 159 South Euclid Avenue. That is gang stalking, as I captured the fake sun in the evening. The current time, by the way, it's 7:21 p.m. So you'll recall the evidence of the Upland Police Department engaging in criminal summoning at this same Chevron. So this is evidence of what is targeting. The entity that is engaging in federal stalking is engaging in the pattern of conduct, including while you make purchases, using communication devices, using electronic devices. The entity is engaged in what is targeting by blocking an ability to make a purchase, which is also the entity that's engaging in what is discrimination while you are engaging in that pattern of conduct. It's also analogous to like locking me out of the store like Wendy's is while they're gang stalking. The entities engaged in this pattern of conduct under the fake sun. There are no malfunctions. They don't have malfunctions of technology. The entities engaging in that P.O.C. And it is under all circumstances. I just want to be clear. For example, when you are purchasing using government assistance such as the EBT card, a means of discrimination would be something such as, instead of stating what they can't say, we don't want to accept EBT customers. You have what is failure of technology while you are engaging in that pattern of conduct. And the ongoing confirmation is the entity doing the exact same thing they did on the morning that Upland Police were stalking under the fake sun, which is stalking by helicopter. That's what you're looking at now. And this is the entity that's engaging in this under the fake sun. And while this is the entity that is providing evidence of the fact that Chevron, that is the entity that's being federally prosecuted, is engaged in what is unlawful discrimination while you are engaging in the pattern of conduct, gang stalking and furtherance of murder on top of that. And the clerk inside is subject to prison. This is the entity, they're all stalking. This is exactly what they did while Upland Police were right here engaging in criminal summoning with the people of the state under the fake sun. The Upland Police Department are full of demons. Marcelo Blanco is a demon. That's the secret that you need to know. But moreover, under the law, he is a domestic terrorist who is subject to federal prison for this pattern of conduct that he shares in, that department shares in. This is why they're present in this specific environment, not engaging in the execution of duties of officers. The execution of duties of officers are not occurring under a superficial engineered environment. That's the malice, where you're stalking wearing a police uniform, in other words. And why do you stalk people in uniforms and wearing badges and exercising fictitious authority? It's because you want to get away with murder and kidnapping, which is what it is when you are operating outside of the authority granted under the Constitution. This is the entity that's engaging that. Chevron is sharing in this pattern of conduct. This is 159 South Euclid Avenue under the fake sun in the morning and in the evening. And while he is indeed targeting, Chevron is indeed targeting, discriminating against my ability to purchase, engaging in what is monitoring me and monitoring my device and monitoring this evidence, engages in what is that Title 18 pattern of stalking in a helicopter. This is the pattern of conduct. Everybody in this video is subject to prison. License 9YUK119. License 7AGC 444. This is the entity that is gang stalking. These are two white males. Gang stalking operating what is a commercial vehicle. Core is a gang stalking company. I'm going to prosecute them. And the third parties operating the vehicle are also third parties that are going to be subject to prosecution as well. License, I'll get that license plate in a minute. Ripping off the paper plate. This is the entity that's engaging with its obstruction. This is federal prison. Engaging federal stalking right in front of you as well. That's federal prison. This is the license plate. California 981364, and that's license 157 Charlie 4. Molestation via impossible light activity while Omnitrans is across the street. They're going to be committed. Everything that they're doing is going to be used against them. And this is the entity that's engaged in that pattern of conduct, which you know is underway with the Upland Police who are gang stalking in the morning under a fake sun. This is the P.O.C. Alrighty? This is the entity that's engaged in that while they are discriminating with regard to the use of the EBT card. The employee is gang stalking with all of these customers as well, which is also why you're going to prison. Alrighty? This is the P.O.C. These are the mentally ill that are stalking with impossible light activities, stalking and things with helicopters. The entity that's engaged in this is doing so as a company. I will prosecute Core, and they're engaging in that P.O.C. together as one. What? I want you to pay attention to that. He's going to federal prison. This is the P.O.C. If he's entertained, keep that level of entertainment. That's the VIN number right there. This is that pattern of conduct. The entity that's engaged in this is the one that's going to compensate also. They're under the fake sun, which is the entity's engagement in a P.O.C. that's going to put them in prison. And they're engaging this with the military. I just want to be clear, the government maintains that same disdain for what is the law that they're being prosecuted under. The employee is subject to prison. License 8 Jerry Apple George 957. P.O.C. All right, you don't have any dysfunction with regard to technology, the ability to make a purchase. It is a means of what is discrimination, but also this is upon federal group stalking and monitoring, where you have impossible light activity appearing under here. It's impossible because of the placement. It's also impossible because Upland police are under this fake sign at the same address, where the people of the state are behaving in a manner that is not fitting of one that's seeking to conspire murder, making jokes, and speaking to mentally ill psychopathic disorders, which is going to require being committed. The entity is engaging in this under the fake sun while they are doing so at 10 in the morning, which is also why you're recognizing what is impossible light activity. This is the video that'll be attached to this. This is Chevron that's engaging in that pattern of conduct, including while the people of the state, including while MetroLink, it's engaging in that pattern of conduct. This is P.O.C. All right, this is the same venue. I'm present at the IHOP across the street, Grossman Law Office. I'm here in the morning where the fake sun is here. It is currently 7:26 p.m. This is the entity that's engaging in that pattern of conduct as one entity, and this is the entity that's subject to federal prison for it, including corporations such as CORE, that's a gang stalker, and also Chevron. And Chevron is just the venue where I'm at. They're all gang stalking, all of them. This is the P.O.C. It is currently where you are looking at what is the use of the train station. That's light and activity. The entity is engaged in this while I am documenting the P.O.C. I want to show you the fake sun. Here you go. This is the stalking with a fake sun and engaging what is making light of your being documented as a domestic terrorist. This is directly relevant to damages, sentencing, charges, etc. This is P.O.C. It is currently 7:27 p.m. P.O.C. This is the demon stalking in a helicopter flying over me at the Open Family Community Library. And stalking at the Chevron, don't forget, at 159 South Euclid Avenue in Upland, California. And I documented they're all going to prison for that. This demon's already going to prison. This is the one that likes to engage in what is hitting on a woman and doing so at what is a fake gang stalking church, which is relevant to federal prison for all those that I document engaged in that P.O.C. It is currently 9:09 p.m. at Ovid Family Community Library. You're looking at the people stalking with the entity stuck by helicopter. This is P.O.C. And it's 9:24. This is the entity that is engaging in ongoing terrorism. I just want to be clear, this is the entity that has been engaged in repeated acts of attempted murder, which Tracy Banks, Eric Spencer, Tommy Allen Banks, Jason Isaac Fields, the entity that has defamed my character, the demon possessed that are gang stalking at the Ovid Family Community, like they share in the entity that is engaged in what is things such as poisoning my food, while they're engaged in kidnapping like Anthony Rodriguez and Hadel Chiappini, the gang stalkers of the Ontario Police, while they are stalking obsessively by helicopter. This is the entity that has together engaged in repeated attempted murders while you're looking at them casually gang stalk. That third party right here walking by, stalking by helicopter with the military. This is the entity that has together engaged in multiple acts of attempted murder. And this is what I've been documenting, and this is why the people that say, like Jason Fields, Tracy Banks, and Eric Spencer, all belong in federal prison. Every single last one of them, including these homosexuals of the military who are stalking in helicopters. Demons like Mike Lorenz that thought that they were going to set me up for murder that this entity committed, including the Ontario Police. They're the same entity, while they are stalking in this absurdly psychopathic and obvious manner. This is why this kidnapper, Anthony Rodriguez, is going to prison, by the way. This is the entity that's engaged in that. They're short-sighted forgetfulness when they're stalking and forgetting that they've committed multiple times seeking to engage in attempted murder, trying to take my life multiple times, while the entity is keeping me outside, not giving me my money and property in order to keep me in this state so they can keep stalking me, so they can keep poisoning me. This is the entity that's engaged in that together as one. This is the entity that's doing so at what is 9:25 p.m. And I want to be clear, there is nothing that you are reporting to the feds. There's no information that you're turning over which is going to keep people like Jason Fields out of federal prison. He's engaged in attempted murder with this entity. He belongs in federal prison. I'm still being subject to gang stalking. There's no information that you are handing over to any federal government that's going to change the fact that you're going to prison, albeit less time perhaps, but you're going to prison. This is the P.O.C. It is currently 9:26 p.m. You repeat that on video. He just told me to leave public property or what? It's public property.
I didn't say or what. You said or what.
You said or you're going, you just threatened and you're doing it in front of Leo who's going to prison. He's going to prison too, but Leo's going to prison. This is public property.
All right, I'm going to come back.
You can come back all you want. It's public property. Repeat your threat. Ontario Police.
What are the hours for this operation?
There are none while you're listening to this idiot. There are none while you're listening to this idiot. There are none. This is public property and I'm using the Wi-Fi. So you're telling me you come and give me this threat while you got that badge and that gun and the entity stalked me by helicopter and there's no hours here? You're going to be back for what? This is public property. What's your name? What is your name, stalker? What is your name while you're walking away? You got authority? What is your name? What is your name, Satan? Well, I'm going to tell you this right now. Lopez is going to prison. And that's an unlawful threat while you're gang stalking. This is the entity that's engaged in repeated kidnappings, Anthony Rodriguez, stalking with Securitas and Leo, engaging in monitoring while the entity's stalking me by helicopter. And that's why you're not giving your name. This is a public library, and there's no closing hours for the Civic Center. You ignoramus, coming over here threatening me and stalking. You're going to prison. This is P.O.C. That's the entity engaging in stalking by helicopter, doing so because of what it is that I'm publishing on the internet, and he's making a threat to engage in what is kidnapping, and that's exactly why I started recording it, and they're doing it in the engineered environment. And this is exactly why Jason Isaac Fields and Tracy Banks, that's why they're all going to prison. There's no information you're giving up to the feds. While I'm still subject to this, they're not engaging in anything regarding what is actual justice. That's why they're sitting out here hoping that I die when they poison me. That's why they're sitting out here still stalking and harassing, hoping that I'm just going to lose my mind so that all of the lies that they told in gang stalking courtrooms retroactively are then made legitimate. That's why I'm still outside, and they're all going to prison. Jason Fields is going to federal prison. This is the P.O.C. It is currently 9:33 p.m. Leo's going to prison. There are no business hours for the Civic Center. And that idiot, anxious to engage in what is harassing me while he's monitoring with Securitas Leo, is coming up and engaging what is threatening me. There are no hours with regard to what is this Civic Center, where the entity lives over here. You're sitting outside on the benches, they're walking their dogs, they're out here all night long, and they're stalking me all night long. And the entity's doing this because I'm getting ready to publish the Ray-Ban Mortgage and Premier playlist regarding federal group stalking and monitoring, where you will see the concentrated pattern of conduct regarding one address, where you will see, including the Ontario Police, stalking me while the entity's stalking by plane and helicopter in concert with the people of the state, as I've been showing the entity gang stalking by the corporate entity. And this is the entity that's going to prison. He's going to prison, and so is his partner, Anthony Rodriguez and Hadel Chiappini, and so is Leo. This is another video of criminal summoning while the demons are monitoring on the internet, stalking me at Upland Public Library by helicopter, stalking me at what is this is the Ovid Family Community Library by helicopter, stalking me while I'm en route to what is Ontario, California by helicopter at Chevron at 159 South Euclid Avenue. This is the P.O.C. They're all going to federal prison. This is what the entity is doing while they're monitoring. And the people of the state are going to federal prison along with them. This is not policing. You're looking at what is overt harassment while you don't even have authority. And I want to be clear, even if it was after hours, even if it was some sort of time restraint here, this entity gang stalked me, so I'm outside, and then you're engaging in what is threatening me with a gun on your waist, and you don't have authority under the law when you are gang stalking. They're literally stalking by helicopter. This is why federal government, military tribunal, this is the law based on the criminal system. They are going to prison. They are going to federal prison. That same encounter results in what is kidnapping and loss of life upon what are false and malicious assertions. They're going to prison. This is the P.O.C. Hey, stalker, what is your badge number and your name while you're over here stalking? What is your name? And how do you know my name, stalker? While you're over here approaching me, I want you to know you're going to prison. I don't need your name, but it's showing how you know that you have no authority. Approaching me with a gun while you are stalking wearing a police uniform is exactly why you're getting committed. And this is exactly why Mike Lorenz and Lopez are also going to federal prison. Listening to this overweight demon that doesn't even know how to spell, you're as ignorant as him. Both of you are going to prison. You are out of your mind doing this on video. You're idiots and you're desperate. You're criminals. You vagina monitoring psychopaths. The Ontario Police are getting disbanded. They're getting disbanded. You are out of a job. P.O.C. That's why you're not giving your badge number, you stalker. This is the P.O.C. This is the entity that's scared of what I'm publishing on the internet. They are stalking in the sky space. That's the military. This is the military up here, stalking with the Ontario Police Department. That's only a name. It's a deceptive misnomer. And this is why this coward's not giving his name and his badge. Coming up and approaching me, that was a threat. I'm supposed to be scared and run away so I can stop using the Wi-Fi and stop publishing evidence. And this is why you publish evidence on the internet, because the entity is trying to kill you and threaten and psychologically torture and harass you. You're going to prison for that. These are psychopaths that are, in fact, illiterate. They act out of irrational fear because of their guilt. And they take the lives of American citizens while doing so. Psychopaths that are stalking under things like a fake sun and a fake moon. This is the P.O.C. This is the entity that's confirming the criminal act that Anthony Rodriguez and Hidel Chiappini engaged in. This is the department pattern of conduct. Stalking. Coming up, having no authority whatsoever. Again, how many times has the Ontario Police Department claiming they get Leo and Securitas? Both, I want to be clear, Securitas is engaged in the pattern of conduct, and Leo is going to federal prison. He's a psychopath stalking with light. You'll see in the images, he's stalking with the military, with commercial plane, and that demon, that little puppet, that vagina monitor is on the golf cart, pacing around with them, monitoring, and then is in my face on video. Not only are they psychotic for gang stalking, they're idiots for doing it on video. And they're both going to be committed. This is the entity that's engaged in that. And demons like Jason Isaac Fields are going to federal prison, conspiring my murder with these demons, together engaging in the pattern of conduct. Because you give evidence after the fact, because I did not drop dead after you tried to kill me, because you see that I am not one that you can drive me crazy while your mental illness is being documented as you gang stalk me, because you are ignorant enough and wicked enough to try engage in it. That is not changing what is nothing other than a whole bunch of defendants who are now turning against each other. You're going to prison. Okay? This is evidence that's putting people like Jason Isaac Fields and Tracy Banks in prison. This is the P.O.C. This is relevant for the military tribunal. Okay? You're going to federal prison. This is exactly why I have the policy laid out as I do. You're going to federal prison. This coward comes and is engaging what is threatening. That's not law enforcement, and that is not a mere tortious case. This is criminal conduct. This is stalking. And then engaging what is threatening. And then you're exercising fictitious authority if I do not conform or abide by your threat. And then how are you doing that? By pulling your weapon, by engaging in what is kidnapping. And then if you resist, you are the one that is forced to comply with what is criminal acts by that entity. They're going to prison. They are going to federal prison, and they're going to be committed. These are demons. Psychopathic pacing, stalking, monitoring my vagina in the bathroom, and then you're acting like you're a police officer. That's the P.O.C. The entity that is prosecuted, the city of Ontario, the city of Upland. Stalking me by helicopter in Upland and Ontario. And this is the military tribunal. This is the entity that's engaging what is levying war, and it has been an unsuccessful feat. They are going to be committed. The airline industry is being federally prosecuted for conspiring my murder with the U.S. government. That's the P.O.C. And this is what an entity is doing because I'm publishing evidence, and I'm going to continue to publish evidence. All of you corporate entities, you are getting notice right now through this evidence that you are being federally prosecuted. You are criminally responsible for everything that is documented, while your establishments, your employees, the location where the establishments are at, the entity that is in any way representing or using your logo, which you are not ignorant about, and nor under the law are you going to be found to have any defense. You are gang stalking with the entity, and you're going to be federally prosecuted up to and including prison. This is the P.O.C. It is currently 9:43 p.m. Alrighty, this is P.O.C. This is indeed criminal summoning that's underway by the third party Securitas and Leo. This is the third time, this demon engaged in criminal summoning upon having zero authority whatsoever. He is a demon under the fake moon, stalking with the U.S. military, and he is severely mentally ill. That's what's being diagnosed. That's what's being assessed and documented while his criminal engagement in the pattern of conduct is underway. This is a psychopath who is actually very fearful of the evidence which is serving to put him in prison, but he's also going to be committed. He's engaged in the pattern of conduct while the Ontario police are engaging with arriving with him. Acts of desperation, actually, while I'm going to continue to publish evidence on the internet, and the entity is engaging in more criminal activity, which is tantamount, I want to be clear, analogous to rather, than the entity stalking by helicopter. That was a Hail Mary, stalking with the Ontario police, and everybody that's in that video is going to prison, including this psychopath that's stalking with light. Going around stalking with a flashlight with impossible light activity. He's a psychopath. He's a sex offender. And that demon is going to be committed, along with that demon that arrived and that coward that doesn't want to give his name and his badge number. And it's okay because I don't need it. He's going to prison. Okay, that's called criminal summoning. Having no authority whatsoever, stalking. And the stalkers are then summoning the stalkers that bear guns and badges while they're stalking with the demons who are stalking me in planes and helicopters. The Ontario police and the military using planes and helicopters in the sky space. a whole bunch of clowns maintaining a circus environment regarding their mental illness. That is Leo. He is going to federal prison. He is all over my social media. He will be getting an exclusive playlist because this demon is going to be subject to what is involuntary commitment. That's the P.O.C. It is currently 9:46 p.m.